The following live stream has been approved for restricted audiences only. It will definitely contain strong language and maybe some adult themes. Almost certainly. Viewer inebriation is advised.
Good evening, happy Friday, and welcome back to Last Call to usher in the weekend. Tonight, even more than usual, this show is yours. That's right, it's the return of the Friday Night Free-For-All, where my focus is on you in the Martini Gallery. It's your comments that will steer the conversation. So what do you want to talk about? Let me know in the chat, along with what you're sipping on. Top off your glasses, get comfortable, and we'll roll out this Canarble Wagon right now.
Last Call is streamed before a live audience.
Salute! Welcome. Brutal week. Brutal week. And it looks like I'm not the only one who's feeling that way from what I'm seeing in the chat. But I thank you all for coming and hanging out with me. And, you know, that's why we're here, to commiserate and to feel a little bit better because we're going into the weekend. Going to start by saying hi to David Pensack. Thank God it's Friday. Is here to make it all better because, yeah, there you go. Happy Alien Day to you, Troy and Netter. Thank you so much. Samuel Proctor was saying, can't wait for the stream. Today's been a rough day. Totally understand, my friend. It's been a brutal week. That's why I'm drinking. You can see it over my shoulder here. I'm having a cognac by Cavassier. I haven't had a sip yet. Let me. Oh, that smells good. Oh, smooth. Oh, that's wonderful. Hail, Connie. Welcome. Matanuli. Good to see you, my friend. Let's see. Lady V. Welcome, Lady V. So glad you're here. Look at this. All the hearts and all the doodahs and the things. She just brightens the place up when she gets here. Mr. Londell's Groovy Movies. Greetings. Welcome to you, my friend. Let's see. And Putin's cat, you are getting to be a regular around here. Welcome. So glad you are here. I am also glad to see Curtis Selby, who absolutely is a regular around here. He is awesome. Let's see. Don't want to miss nobody. Mr. Londell, Connie, Putin's cat, saying hi to each other. That's awesome. That encourages me, too, when you guys are saying hi to each other. And, of course, you are always welcome here, Big Al. Thank you so much for stopping in. Stay as late as you can. I know that can be a challenge sometimes. JPRPH1, John, salute. So glad you're here. Last Call with Troy Pacelli. He's a good-looking guy. Here's to you. Let's see here. Did I say hi to deleted scenes? Salute, my friend. If I didn't, sorry about that. And of course, Evelyn Hampton. Hapla! Good to see you. Let's see here. Tim Hayes. Always a pleasure to see you, my friend. Well, let's see. Michael Frentz, Midnight's Edge, Klobby, among other things. Okay. Yep. You do get around the streams. Don't know if you saw that what's it called? The Australian Memorial Day whatever speech that Tony did over on the Patreon for Analog Toys. It was really, really good. Let's see here. Don't want to miss nobody. Oh, and there she is. I'm sure she said she loved me somewhere in here. I love you too, Netter, and let's get you in here. Hello, Netter of Netters Network. How you doing, my dear? And what are you sipping on?
Like you said, it's been a week.
It has. It has.
For those of you who were on with us on Tuesday on Deleted Scenes channel, I had happened to mention that, or maybe it was on, it must have been Tuesday. I mentioned that I had a horrible day on the Monday. Mm-hmm. And it did get better, because people were like giving me hugs and everything and saying they hoped it got better. And it did get better. It was a work issue. I had my one-on-one with my boss on Thursday, so it was kind of like I had to wait 4 days for this thing to find out what was going to happen. Find out everything's okay. It's not, the issue was resolved just fine. And so everything is definitely better. But yeah, it was a harrowing 4 days for me wondering what, things. Yeah, I mean, those of you in the workforce who, have to deal with things know what I'm talking about. I don't have anything alcoholic yet.
Yet. She may Irish up in a little bit.
Irish? I'm Scottish. Don't you insult me. But I may be having...
It's all Gaelic to me.
Yeah. I may be making myself a Knitter's Nectar, which is coconut rum and cranberry grape juice.
I was going to do that for you, and then, we were kind of scrambling here. And then I didn't. Right, exactly. But I'm a better drinker than she is. She's a better bartender than I am. Yeah. That's just how it works.
But, everything's been going good. I do appreciate all the hugs and good wishes people were sending me, because that was so super encouraging. So thank you all for that.
It really is.
It's been really nice seeing that. You guys are just so encouraging. I love you guys.
Speaking of encouraging, I better encourage the guy who's going to make sure I end the stream, because he is my designated driver. Aged Boomer, how you doing, my friend, and what are you sipping on?
Like you said, it's been a week. Well, I was working on schoolwork. I finished my final assignment.
Are you completely now finished with your finals? And all that?
Turned it in. Whether or not it was finished, I don't know, but I'm not looking at it anymore. So there we go. I love how I did half of the assignment over the last weekend, and one of my research questions, when I went to look it back up to get the reference items, the answer wasn't there in the search engine I used, and I couldn't get it back, and I was going nuts. And I'm like... I was like 2 hours. I can't find it again, so I just answered a different question. And instead, never mind. I'm rambling. Anyway, I'm doing fine. I could really use a Chick-fil-A breakfast, but it's not breakfast time right now.
What did you say? What you were sipping on?
I have an unsweetened iced tea, and I'm Irish. Just so you know.
That's fair. That's
Irish,
fair.
Well,
least, yes.
I have some Irish relatives, but
yes, you do.
My mother, my grandmother was Welsh, my grandfather was Scottish, and we're supposed to be a wee bit of Irish along the way.
Yeah, I think I got a bit of French along the way too, but yeah.
Oh, my father's side, French Canadian.
Yep, absolutely. Adega, doctor and author, Adega Outlaw. Welcome. So good to see you.
I love Curtis Selby having nephews a librarian. I don't envy him at all. Well, you know what? It probably depends where you work.
Yeah, exactly. Sir Torrin Clegane, welcome. How's the show going?
What do I know? Okay.
We need an update. Pop culture curator, welcome. Good to see you, my friend.
Hello.
Let's see.
How's the curation going lately? Probably not. You really have your work cut out.
Yeah, pop culture curation has got to be a challenge right now.
You're curating modern pop culture. You've got your work cut out.
That's absolutely true.
In my efforts not to miss anyone, I may have said hi to a couple of you twice, so you get a double hi if that's
No, I am not. I'm drinking a cognac here, Samuel. I am not the designated driver. I'm counting on Aged Boomer. I'm counting on Aged Boomer.
Rancor Steve, how you doing, sweetie?
Oh, okay. You guys are getting way ahead of me. Hold on. There we go. Howdy! Welcome. And that made me skip over Christian Delorme's Vinyl Revival. Bonsoir. Welcome. I guess I do have to speak a little French if I'm going to be drinking cafetier. Bonjour.
Bonsoir. It's good evening, dear.
Whatever.
You could say bonjour because that's hello, but...
Bonjour.
Bonjour, comment ça va?
What's the soup doodger? It's the soup of the day, sir. Oh, said hi already. And you guys are saying hi to each other. That's awesome. Samuel Proctor. The only Irish I could find on my tree was some Scotsman who moved there for 2 generations, then moved to England. Yeah, I hear you. Let's see. Bear with me. Okay, so here's the update. The show closed a couple of weeks ago. Okay. It went very well, save for the last performance when I caught whatever it was one of my co-stars had. Second time she got me sick. Oh gosh, that's terrible. That is terrible. But as you know, if it doesn't kill you, it just makes you stronger. A lot of work talk here. That's fine. Y'all got to commiserate, but I'd really rather talk about much more pleasant things.
Are we stronger now?
I like to think so.
Pop culture battle began.
I like to think so. Well, I mean, I'm more secure in myself and my beliefs, and anyone else who doesn't like it. How far into the show are we? Well, we're close enough to 15 minutes. Anyone who doesn't like it can fuck off.
Oh my goodness.
What were you going to say, Netter?
I had a weird thing. I bought a second monitor for my laptop, my personal laptop, so that I can have, say, Cosme on the one and keep StreamYard and Yahoo, YouTube on my main laptop. There doesn't seem to be any way to silence the stupid thing. So when I tried to try it out tonight, because I figured, this would be a good opportunity. I'm on a show. I can have the second screen showing, StreamYards, and I just have YouTube on my laptop. The stupid thing kept making noise, it was echoing, and there's no way to shut the stupid thing off as far as sound. It's like, are you kidding me? So I guess I might have to return it because that's not going to help me at all.
That's fair. I don't know, Samuel. I'm wondering if being drunk, makes it easier to speak French. Cavassier, bonjour, comment allez-vous? Voulez-vous causer avec moi? It sounded like a little Klingon coming in there. Yeah, I shouldn't try to mix my languages. Oh, yeah. Yep.
And the question you wanted to ask before you started swearing was, quelle heure-t-il? What time is it?
That did not sound like French.
Yes, it means, what time is it?
Okay, well, yeah, it's just, we just passed the 9:15 mark. There's Nate with Geek Flag. Hello, welcome, good to see you. And Jesse Guajardo. Okay, the gang is, not all the gang is here. I'm seeing some people that are, I'm not seeing some people I wish I was seeing, but hopefully people will continue to file in. So again, this is Friday Night Free For All. My intent had always been to maybe do one of these a month, but between having guests and then this guy coming up with brilliant topics.
I know,
right? So, but there's nothing wrong with it.
I like doing the topic streams; they're fun.
But I am counting on my my.
They're what we fill in when we can't when you're during the off periods.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm counting on my designated driver and my bouncer to help me keep an eye on the chat because that is where I want our focus to be tonight, on you guys.
Okay, well, I will look.
What you guys want to be talking about.
I got to call out Jessica Hardo. You're saying, "Hey, Netter and Troy." What do you mean by that? Hey, what do you mean by that? Hay is for horses.
Hay is for horses. It's good enough for me.
Hey, Jesse, did you say hi to Age Boomer? Huh?
Well, he may have done.
Well,
these chats do go by pretty fast. And the more I drink, the more I'm likely to miss a chat.
What will I do with myself? Well, Mom has her... Well, I'll get into that off screen.
So, last Monday, we did a... boy, it's been almost a week now.
What'd you do?
I mean, the weeks are just flying by. We did what do you call that? Where you watch two movies? Double feature. Yeah. With it was a Clint and Clyde double feature.
You should have. Did you do a karaoke of that song?
I have not. So wait a minute. So I'm not going to do Any Which Way But Loose. That's Eddie Rabbit is a little bit out of my range.
Gotcha.
Let me finish the story and then I'll talk karaoke. So, Any Which Way But Loose, and Every Which Way But Loose, and Any Which Way You Can, double feature. It had been a long time. Well, it had been 40 years since I saw those movies. Forgot how much I loved them, especially with the second one, Any Which Way But Loose. No. The second one, Every Which Way You Can.
Any Which Way You Can. I don't know.
Yes. I know. I get confused. That second one. The second one's the better one in my opinion.
I haven't seen that one. I need to check that one out.
That's the one with Right Turn, Clyde. He's not doing that in the first movie. They kind of blurred together in my memory.
Doesn't he get like a female orangutan out from the zoo to get Clyde some company for the night?
Yep. And I had forgotten. Because I was a kid when I first saw these movies, so I didn't have the analytical mind that I do now when I watch these movies. The kind of mind, for example, that soundtracks with Birdman who would connect the songs and the music to the events and whatnot. And there's this great bit where in the second movie they go to get Clyde hooked up for the night, and they take him to the zoo, and he goes into the primate enclosure, and he knocks on the door, he opens it, and then the girl monkey shows up, and he goes in with her and closes the door. As the door closed, because when we get behind closed doors, and I was like, oh man, I love that song. I forgot that came from this movie. So I had said I was going to open up the stream tonight with that song, but I decided no, I wasn't going to do that, because I know some of you don't like to hear me sing. I understand that. I don't blame you in the slightest. But I figured, you know what? If I have somebody in the chat that actually wants me to sing that classic late 70s, early 80s hillbilly song, Behind Closed Doors, I would be happy to do it for you. Just buy me a drink right up there at the top of the chat.
I think there's a little bit of hillbilly in all of us, don't you?
I like to think so.
By the way, Geek Flag made a point that the CFO of Games Workshop sold a bunch of her stock recently.
Wow. There you go.
There's a ton of crap going on about
There is a lot of stuff going on.
There's rumors going around that they think this whole thing with the female curates was started because Amazon's now involved in making a series and they were insistent.
Lady V is so damn encouraging. Thank you so much, sweetie. You saying that, that makes me feel pretty damn awesome. That really does. And Boomer's like, no, please don't encourage him. He might sing.
I rewarded myself before the stream with an episode of Beavis and Butthead of the new show. Yes.
I never liked that show.
It is the great Cornholio.
I've made an argument this is the generational divide. Or actually, no, to be fair, there were plenty of my age group that didn't like it either. But I remember when it was live.
Whoops, wait. Yep, I knew what you meant, Rancor Steve. Yeah, I am drinking a Cavassier cognac. So yeah, it's and there is a reason that brandy snifters exist, because the smell is just a part of the experience, Oh god, it's so fancy.
We'll learn that on Twin Peaks.
Honestly, yes,
we'll get there soon enough. Yes.
There's some jokes I can make there, but anyway, yeah, I'm not near drunk enough for that yet. I Yeah, I guess it is a little fancy. One of my listeners bought it for me last year, actually. I'm going through it pretty darn slow. Usually, cognac I feel like is a something you drink in the winter months, but we had a cold day today. It's supposed to shoot up to the 80s tomorrow, but I figured
I'll believe that when I see it or feel it.
Yeah, right. Yep. Right now, I'm not in the hillbilly music phase. I'm in the little shop of horrors. Oh
okay.
Gosh, the first time I saw the original stage version, the first one I saw, of course, was the Rick Moranis version, which big changes between that and the Broadway version.
Interesting.
But I saw the original stage version. I went to see. There was a girl that I liked in school that was she was playing Audrey, and I was like, oh, I gotta go see this. I brought her flowers. She thought that was really nice. Still didn't talk to me when we got back to school, but no, whatever.
That happens, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Dry Boomer Netter, have you guys had a chance to check out looks like there's something there that I'm not getting, but TV show Fallout? Something TV show? Fallout? I may be misreading that. You may have typed it wrong.
Amazon series.
Okay, wait a minute.
It's an Amazon series?
That's the one that Deleted Scenes was doing a review of. Remember the Fallout series?
Oh, Fallout. Yeah. Based on the game. I have not seen it. We were talking about it a little bit on Tuesday with Deleted Scenes. He was saying Kyle MacLachlan was in it, so Twin Peaks connection.
Yep.
Absolutely, I do want to check it out. May have the best goatee on social media. I do. I try to keep it trim. I really do. I think that Culture Casino has an epic beard, but that's just not my style. I go for the more Klingon look. Wondering if I should darken it again. Let me know in the chat if you guys think I need to go for a little bit of color in there, or just leave it Gandalf white.
Gandalf.
Yeah.
We all like Gandalf, don't we?
5 episodes deep into Fallout. So no spoilers, guys. Let's not spoil it. And okay, yeah. So let's see what else.
I've been watching Sugar on Apple TV. Colin Farrell. It's like a modern day Gumshoe type series. Like he's trying to find out a missing woman. That sort of
I'll tell you what I won't be watching now, despite how much you've been recommending it to me. I don't think I'll be watching Reacher.
I don't know that I'm looking forward to watching it. To be fair, I argued, I think Pop's on his channel, he made a comment in the beginning of the stream. He said, can't we all just admit the Reacher was good? This was before all the nonsense with the actor. And I was thinking, yes, Reacher is good. And I kept thinking, but do I think it's great? And the answer was no. And I'm thinking, good is all we get now if we're lucky. Then
yeah, and it's, you know what? Good is not good enough. This is it. I am tired of, and I've had some conversations offline with people about my my Ghostbusters reviews, plural. I have one that's exclusive to Rumble,
right,
where I get into the thinly veiled subject matter that a lot of people are talking about there, and I agree. It's definitely not as good as the first movie. But nothing has been. Ghostbusters 2, Ghostbusters Afterlife, none of them have risen to that level. So, it was good enough for me because I am such a Ghostbusters fan. But the fact that it's not doing phenomenally, I kind of understand. It was just okay. And, I don't know. Watched Reacher Season 1 before...
Yep.
It left X. He left X because of free speech. Yeah, we were kind of talking about that in the backdrop a little bit. All the crap.
We'll talk about that on Sunday.
I'll save it for Sunday because I want to rant about this, and maybe I'll save the steam for Boomer's stream. Yeah, save the steam for Boomer's stream. I like
personal reasons to. Yeah. Okay, I'll get into it on Sunday.
And it looks like Deleted Scenes has dropped Reacher from his watch list. Stick to the book. Oh, see, I didn't realize this was something based on a book. That's usually how I tend to go anyway.
Oh, no, yeah. Lee Child, very popular book series, even now. Why do relatively new actors feel the need to be activists now? Maybe that's how they're hired. I don't know.
Okay, so I need to know. Putin's cat. Do I have to call you Putin's cat every time I address you? I don't want to call you Putin. I don't want to call you Cat.
PC.
PC.
I could call you Vlad. I mean,
PC.
PC. No, that sounds like I'm saying something about him being politically correct, and that's not.
Well, PC was the good old days when people used to make fun of political correctness, and back in the '90s, it was like a joke.
Oh, Pootie. Okay, I can do it.
Pootie's good. Pootie works. I like that.
Cat.
There was a
what?
There was a local car dealer here in the Chicago area. I don't remember what the full name of it was, but it was shortened to Pootie, and they had this mascot voice on the radio ads.
You thought you saw a Pootie cat?
I thought I saw a Pootie cat. Yes, exactly. But they're insecure about their position in Hollywood and want to stay relevant, and this seems like a good idea. I would also say, and this was something that I was saying about him back in the backdrop when we were talking in the green room. Apparently he's got a history of bipolar disorder and some other issues.
Maybe,
so that could be part of it. But Boomer made a great point. If you're an actor and you have issues, maybe stay off social media. Maybe vet everything through your publicist.
Yep.
Put someone in charge that, I mean, if you have a drinking problem or you're planning on drinking, you hand your keys over to someone else, right? If you have a problem with epilepsy, maybe you don't drive, you have someone else drive for you. If you know that you've got some issues and you might, go off on social media, and your success in your career is dependent on people's opinions of you, maybe you put a filter up, Ask somebody to help you out with that. Actors become activists in a stupid attempt to keep their names on the minds of casting directors and producers, the vast majority. See, and we were talking about this with John Cena, right? Coming out, apologizing to China in Mandarin and blah, 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 and all this shit. And it's like, you are on the other side of the hill now. We have crossed that Rubicon now.
Cena's done.
The whole DEI thing, the whole bowing to China thing is pretty much over for most Americans. If you can't read the room, you deserve to not get any more jobs.
Have you seen the union workers in New York City recently?
No, what's up with that?
They were showing their support to a certain candidate and condemning someone sitting in office right now. Okay, I'm not going to say what it was on the air. I don't know.
I know he's losing the unions. He's losing all the pro-Palestinian people. It's like, he's losing most of Middle America because they're getting sick of the open borders and the money to every other country. Look, I don't care where you fall on the Israel-Palestine thing. I really don't. We need to kind of focus on our borders, okay? We kind of need to focus on ourselves a little bit more. Just saying.
Inflation, too.
The economy's doing really, really bad.
I did a double take. I went through an Arby's drive-through last weekend and came to $14. And I said, hey, well, and, that was like, granted, I ordered the premium lemonade, but still, it was like, go out to eat for that much at a restaurant. It's like, no, not going there for a while.
Oh, yeah, it's like, we went to, I think we went through Chick-fil-A, and for the two of us, it was like $30. It's like,
it's
wait
In fairness, it is just for the two of us, but we buy for 4 because we buy 2 extra sandwiches.
Well,
because you can have them the next day.
4 Chick-fil-A sandwiches and a large order of fries. No drinks.
No, we got the shake. Remember?
Oh, okay. Just tell me to get the shakes.
Yep.
That 3 over was probably the shakes. I will say this. Yeah, that sounds about right. Because I was going to say, how much was it?
About $30.
Yeah.
It might be a little less in Florida. I know.
Look,
I know. Also, prices vary on state to state.
I'll tell you.
That too.
I'm willing to spend that at Chick-fil-A. I'm not really willing to spend that anywhere else anymore.
I am going to say this too. They have the best breakfast fast food.
Let me tell you something else. I go into Chick-fil-A and I talk to a real person and a real person waits on me. Real person gets my food for me, right? McDonald's, I got to go to I walk into the place and I have to use a damn kiosk. Screw that. I ain't doing it.
You had that horrible experience at Steak and Shake. I remember you told me about.
Yeah, exactly. That's a whole other ball of wax because that's a sit down type restaurant. It's like a diner type place.
Do you have Culver's in your area?
Not anymore. Yes, we do.
Yes, we do.
I would recommend that over Steak and Shake now for a burger place because even though it's more fast food, like they make it fresh for you and they'll bring it to your table after you order it at the register.
Maybe Netter and I will try that tomorrow when we're out.
They have custard there, or you can even get a shake if you want to go.
I've heard they have good custard.
So you can try them out. Yeah.
So Critical Thinking and Drinking says since Alan plays a tough guy, maybe don't take the social media take you have. Yeah, everything I was hearing from like the first season was a lot of people that, a lot of the outlets that we all enjoy, the anti-woke type crowds, saying, yeah, okay, this looks like something we could get behind. So that tells me that's who your audience is. It's the guys, it's the macho, it's the, girls who like the macho, which there are still some, believe it or not. Despite what they even might say on social media. Know who your audience is. I think that's what it really comes down to for any celebrity.
David Mamet. He's been better lately.
Honey, check private chat.
I really do like what Mamet's been saying lately. Oh, no. Yeah, you just looked too, didn't you?
Does that mean you got to sing right now?
I am going to have to sing. I have to be true to my word, guys. Guys, I realize. Stream.
Wait, I have to give you the message that came along with it.
Oh, okay.
Here's the whole bit. Give me just a second.
Oh, you're going to copy and paste it. I've got 31 people. At least that's what StreamYard says. I've got 31 people. I may lose more than half of y'all right now. Lady V. Bought me a drink. She said, Troy, oi, sing to our Muse Netter. Absolutely. Well, I'll sing about our Muse Netter. How's that? Sorry, guys. I gotta sing. Not only did she buy me a drink, but she was so kind and encouraging to me. I gotta be true.
So for those of you who don't want to listen to Troy sing,
you can always mute me.
You can mute.
I will make it obvious, to unmute when I'm done. If you feel that you must, please. I'd rather you didn't leave. But let's do this. Let's do this. Thank you, Lady V. I've kind of been wanting to sing this, so let me.
I think she knew that.
She's a sweetie. She really is
a sweetie.
I'm gonna have to mute you, Boomer, because. You'll double up on my mic if
gotcha. That's fine. Over. Yeah, you go mute me. It's fine.
So I'll keep you in, but I'm going to mute you. And everyone else, stick with me because I got to do technical things here. Where is?
Did I just close StreamYard?
I still see you in StreamYard. You're still here.
Oh, there it is. Okay, my tab was hidden. That was weird.
Speakers and okay. So for those of you that are actually still listening and are not cued into what song I'm singing or why, on Monday I did a double feature of Any Which Way But Loose and Every Which Way You Can, or Every Which Way But Loose and Any Which Way You Can. Clint and Clyde. And the second one had this great song that I loved as a kid. I went through a hillbilly phase as a kid in the late 70s, early 80s. And I said, I want to sing this song, but I wasn't going to unless somebody requested and bought me a drink. And Lady V, well, if you guys can blame Lady V. Here we go. You can listen again if you want to. I'm going to take Boomer off mute. There. Say something, Boomer.
Hello.
Oh, see, I didn't. I took it off before I put you on my earbuds. There we go. You should be okay now, Boomer. Thank you very much. Apologies. What did he say? I bet there's some dogs howling in the backyard. Yeah. If I had a dog. But John is very encouraging. He's clapping for me. Thank you so much. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
You said that was beautiful.
Yeah, you are a sweetie. You really, really are. And you know that's gonna. I'm gonna get hit for that one, so I may have to trim that out on the rewatch, or I don't know, something. I'll figure it out. But anyway, that was fun. Thanks, guys. And I actually have 34 people now. Like, I got 3 extra people. And it doesn't look like anybody's over on Rumble. That's okay. I don't even know if we'll be going to... Well, I'm simulcasting to Rumble, as well as Twitter. At the 2-hour mark, we're at 45 minutes right now. So we're coming up on 10 Central. if we hit 11 o'clock and you guys want me to keep going, we'll go over to Rumble. And I know, Boomer, you have to go because you have to work early tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's perfectly fine. I understand. Yeah, just as long as we don't start them making paper clips. That's the last thing we want. Yeah, I've been watching a lot of videos lately about Elon's plans for a moon base alpha and colonizing the Mars and whatnot. Basically saying they might just have to start with some non-manned missions with some robots building some infrastructure before we get there. That could be really interesting. Looks like it's sounding like it's a no-brainer to do one on the moon. It's getting to Mars that's difficult. It's not even getting to Mars that's difficult.
No, not the moon.
It's landing on Mars that's difficult.
He's going to fund it by storing all the nuclear waste on the moon, and then there's going to be this huge nuclear bomb, and it'll get set off, and then the moon will be cast out of the Earth's orbit.
That's the plot for 1999. Absolutely. Yeah, we're a little bit behind. We're like 24 years.
Yeah, they should make it Space 2099.
Well, that's the other thing that's really a bummer. Someone on I don't know which idea it was. Some Trek handle over on Twitter was talking about. They were talking about First Contact Day and some other things, and they were saying, "Oh, we're this far away from first contact with the Vulcans and whatnot." And someone else pointed out, "Yeah, but we're going to have World War III first." And I'm like, "What makes you think we're not in the middle of World War III right now?" But then the thread became this whole, all the things in Star Trek future history, that haven't happened, especially in like space exploration and stuff. And it's like, yeah, that's a bummer. Yeah, Star Trek absolutely has to now be an alternate, reality because we've reached many of the foundational history that would set up the Star Trek thing. The moon might have loads of helium-3. We don't want to store waste there. We don't want rockets with waste in them exploding over us. Yeah. Actually, that's the interesting thing. Helium-3 could actually end up being the boom crop, right? Something to mine there that would definitely help out, especially if we could get this whole fusion thing worked out, or at least. Excuse me, let me take that back. Until we get this fusion thing worked out. Because helium is a byproduct of fusion of hydrogen, right? We have plenty of hydrogen. Hydrogen is easy to get here on. Well, it's not easy. It can be expensive. Sometimes you have to extract it from water, but it can be done. Helium is much more difficult. I don't know if you've noticed this, if you've ever gone to buy party balloons and stuff, they're very expensive because helium is very expensive. And helium is necessary in a whole lot of industrial scenarios. That's why I think it's such a waste to use them in balloons. So I really think that if we could get this fusion thing worked out, not only would that be good for energy, clean energy, almost limitless energy, but we'd have almost limitless helium. We really, really need it. So, anyway. But,
why? So you can make your voice sound all funny?
Well, like I said, it's also used in the production of a number of things. It's used in, isn't it used in welding? I think it's used in some aspect of making circuit boards or something like that. I mean, important things that we actually need.
I suppose that's a job.
Yeah. Salute the Clue channel. Welcome.
It's like people pick on welders and like they're probably one of the most essential people in our society.
Right, exactly. Right? Sashi from halfway around the world. It's got to be like midday over there, isn't it? Good afternoon or good morning, as it might be. We should stop inhaling helium. Yeah, my grandmother was always worried when I'd play around with a helium balloon and do that. she was really, and there is a danger. There is a danger when you're inhaling helium. It's not poisonous. It's not going to hurt you, but you can suffocate because you're filling your lungs with a gas that you can't breathe. So you gotta, in that respect, you got to be careful, and you will get lightheaded. But look, let's be honest. You inhale a bunch of helium, you do it too much, you pass out, you're not inhaling any helium anymore, and then you come to again. It's not that dangerous. Oh, but that's the other thing, Boomer. They've talked about what to do with nuclear waste for a long time, and they've pretty much decided you can't just blast it into space. What happens if that ship blows up on, as it's going through the atmosphere, and it rains down all this nuclear waste all over wherever? No, so they'll never do that. That's not a viable option. Why can't we build water? H2O seems simple to make. It kind of, well, let's face it, water actually is pretty easy for us on Earth. Look, yes, it's costly to desalinate water. It's costly to split H2O into hydrogen and oxygen, but it can be done. And quite easily. And if there was enough need for it, the price wouldn't be that bad. It would just become part of our infrastructure. Imagine that. Imagine, you're in an area that's pretty arid, but you are near the ocean, right? You're not getting a lot of rain, but you've got a lot of water, and you can't plant any crops, but you got water, but it's all, salinated water. So you build a desalination plant. Well, that's expensive. Well, it's either that or die.
Everything's expensive.
Maybe quit buying Starbucks and start, building a desalination plant, for crying out loud.
Starbucks.
You can eat nuclear waste with special reactors or transmute it into less harmful stuff, but no one wants to. Yeah, well, here's the thing. This is not even controversial anymore. All the weirdo tree huggers want to point to, Soviet Union, Chernobyl, not Long Island, 3 Mile Island, Fukushima, all these kinds of things. Look at France. How many meltdowns has France had? And how much nuclear waste problem have they been having in France? None. Because they have the top of the line reactors. And they have very, very little waste. And as Putin's cat says here, there are ways to use it again in specialized reactors.
You said you were going to start calling him Pooty.
Oh, yeah, Pooty. Pooty. Yeah. But yeah, Thade. Salute. Welcome. Good to see you, my friend. Let's see here. We need research into modern fission reactors. Exactly. Well, we're at the point where we just need to upgrade to the modern fission reactors that they're using in France. We need to start doing it. But here's the problem. We have let the EPA, and not only the EPA, we have put our country in charge of, everyone wants to go off about, this is a representative republic. Bullshit! Our representatives aren't doing crap because they've turned everything over to unelected bureaucrats in these 3-letter agencies. The FDA, the EPA, the NRA. No. Those are the guys that we don't like anymore.
The NSA.
NSA, exactly. What's it called? The tobacco and firearms guys. Those jerks.
You're going to be getting some men in black at your house tomorrow afternoon.
And let me tell and the problem is, this is what I have these morons, or maybe they're frickin' CIA people, on social media. Well, what is this deep state? Name somebody. Anybody who's got a government job that works in one of these 3-letter agencies that isn't elected? That's the deep state. That's the deep state, guys.
Ooh. Logical Smock says today is the 38th anniversary of Chernobyl.
Yes, it is. You're absolutely right. Have you seen that, was it Showtime?
HBO.
Oh, HBO. Did you see that
series? I did. It was very good. I enjoyed it a lot. Well, I enjoyed it. I don't want to say I enjoyed it. It kept my
ATF,
attention.
thank you, Clue. That's, yes.
It kept my attention. I'll put it to you that way.
Hide your dogs. The ATF is coming.
It did not. It did not. It did not waste your time. That show. It starts with the reactor getting messed up. That's how it starts.
I watched it over at a buddy's house.
Yeah.
Netter and I did. It was really good. So I didn't know too much about it until I'd seen it. And then what do? I go and I start researching to see, what they got right, what they got wrong. Most of it was pretty right on, and the things that they changed, mostly just to streamline the story,
they added the character of the scientist or this. I don't know if it was one scientist or the science woman. Basically, that character was supposed to.
She was actually an amalgamation of characters.
The scientific community. Yeah. That was what she was in there about. What all the scientists were saying over there. Yes.
And I'm like, okay, I'm fine with that because it's not inaccurate. It's just. She's representing multiple people that really did exist. That really did
a ton of people
do and say the things that she did and said.
Hey.
The other thing was some of the events, like being exposed to the hot core, and then he's immediately like bleeding and whatnot. That's not really how it works. I unfortunately, I learned way more than I really needed to about the medical aspects of what some of those guys went through. It was pretty grisly, but it's not that fast. You don't just start bursting into blood vessels and stuff.
You know what part of that series terrified me the most, oddly enough, was the part where he's saying, don't fly the helicopters so close to those things because I'm going to look down. It's okay, fine, whatever. I'll put in the order. Don't fly over it, right? The one pilot either didn't hear it or ignores it, goes right over the smoke plume. The copter comes out and the blades come right off and it goes crashing down.
Yep.
I was like, yikes. That was...
That's the hard thing, because you have a situation where there's a lot of people dealing with radiation and they don't understand it. And radiation is one of those things that you can't see, you can't smell. There's nothing to indicate there's anything dangerous happening. So that's a double-edged sword. So on the one hand, you have people going and picking up stones, not knowing that they're dangerous and stuff like that. And, they end up dead a couple weeks later, right? Then on the other side of it, you have people kind of like we saw during the pandemic, right? Where people are so afraid of the radiation. I don't want you coming near me. I think you might be contagious or whatever. It's like, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. If I've been exposed, I'm probably going to die, but I'm not irradiated in such a way that it's going to kill you, but people don't understand. And, so it kind of goes both ways, but,
yeah.
Oops.
I remember the part with the miners and they say they needed volunteers. Remember that?
Yeah.
And
that was
up and said, "We'll do it."
Yeah. And they give them grief about not wearing goggles or not wearing, the suit or whatever, and they're like, "Is it really going to help us?" No. Okay then. Let us do our job, because they freaking knew they were dead. They knew they were dead.
Die from going
right.
In there. Yeah.
But and I think every society has this, whether it's your duty to Mother Russia, or you put your life on the line for your loved ones, king and country, God will sort it out. Whatever it is that impels you, and I think this is probably the thing that I feel like our society is losing sight of. We have too many of these young, stupid, uneducated, or miseducated, jaded narcissists who believe that everything is bad, everything is evil, they're evil, the world is evil, humans are evil, there's nothing we could do, we should all just die. Well, first thing I tell them is lead by example, feel free, that's your choice. But the other thing is, who are you listening to and why do you believe this? Because I have seen too many self-sacrificing people, when it really comes down to it, that put others ahead of themselves, right? Everybody who's served in the military, right? If you know someone who was in the military, if you can get them to talk about it, which is unlikely, but if they'll talk about it, they'll tell you some stories of heroism that they witnessed or that they were the benefactor of. You know, someone else might tell a story about them and what they did. You know, yeah, you know, it's what was it? Mr. Rogers once said something about, and I think it was after 9/11 or some
Maybe.
event like that.
Yeah, something like that.
And he was talking to the kids, you know, because he's a children's show host. He said it can be really scary when things are going all wild and everyone's afraid. And you don't know, I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember his exact words. What do you do? Where do you go? He says, what you do is you look for the helpers. Because in times of crisis, there's always helpers. They're the ones to look for. And someday, when you get older, you can be one of those helpers. You know? That's what I think about. There are people like that. You know, there's a lot of selfish people out there. There's a lot of selfless people out there, too.
Sure.
Hey, Sin, welcome, welcome. Hope everyone is doing well and watches something good this weekend. Absolutely.
I might check out The Beekeeper. We'll see. That's the new Jason Statham.
There you
Maybe
go. We've decided we're not going to be watching The Reacher, that's for sure. Sin, are you back from holiday? Are you back to a regular streaming schedule? We've kind of missed you. And in my 53 years on Earth, I can thankfully say I have encountered more angels than demons. And I count present company among the angels. Thanks very much.
I think the demons, or whatever, these types of people, they stand out more. That's why you take for granted the people who are decent, and we maybe pay more attention to the people around. Like even
have a good night, Matanui. Take care.
I mean, I would argue I have a customer service job, and I would argue most of the people are good people. You know, yeah, you know.
Oh, at the end of May. Okay, fair enough, Sin. Glad to have you back. But yeah,
that's just. I'm telling you though, scary, uncomfortable times we're living in. But this is why we get together. We need
something else. I have a couple of friends that are. They'll come to me and they're freaking out some news article they read or whatever, and this and that, and it's like,
I don't blame them. I get that.
Yeah, we're living through tough times, but you know what? Every generation has. We've actually had a few generations. We've had a few decades, I should say, not generations. One generation, a few decades, that have been pretty mild for us here in the States. That doesn't mean it's been easy on everybody. And there's been a lot of crap going on around the world that, most people that have never been outside the United States have no idea about. The ugly Americans have just gotten much more ugly. They don't. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier, Sin. We don't. We don't. I feel like this generation, more than any before, they think that the whole world is exactly like us.
No,
we have a right to this. We have a right to that. So they don't.
Oh.
They don't have a right to bear arms. They don't have a right to shut up and not talk to the police so they don't incriminate themselves. They don't have a right to speak about the injustices they see around them. They could end up dead, you know? And you've taken it for those rights for granted here. And if you keep doing it, you're likely to lose them. People tell me they're terrified for the future, and I say, welcome to the world. That's a fear everyone has had no matter what the era. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. There's rational and there's irrational fear, right? There is a rational fear of the future. So you think about the things that are likely to happen and prepare for them, right? You hope for the best, but you prepare for the worst, right? The irrational is you think the sky is falling imminently, we're all going to die, you know. What do you do with that? There's nothing you can do with that. You know, it's like this, the people that say, oh, I don't bother to vote because, you know, the lesser of two evils is still evil. So what are you doing? Are you staying home on election day? Are you hiding in your basement? Are you stocking up on cans and guns? You better be doing something, you know? Or if you don't like the electoral system, maybe get involved in it. Have you volunteered to be a vote counter? You know, a poll watcher? No? Have you thought about running for office? No? Then shut the fuck up. Your talk is cheap. Do something. Oh, the Demon Core. Yeah, we've watched some videos about that. That's yeah. You do something stupid and you realize in a flash of light, I'm dead. There's nothing I can do. And you don't feel any different in the moment, but your body just starts to fall apart from that moment on. Yeah. The Demon Core. Look it up, people. It's horrifying.
Have you seen the movie Chernobyl Diaries?
No, I have not.
It's like one of those found footage type horror movies about a bunch of American tourists that decide, hey, let's go on this secret tour into the Chernobyl site. Things don't go well.
We have a right to bear arms, not a right to bear arms. B-A-R-E.
Funny.
B-A-R. Very good. Yeah. Exactly. Sashi knows. It's different where he's at.
Did you ever see the video on YouTube of the bear sneaking into the pizza parlor and eating the pizza?
Yes, that's awesome. Yes, Sashi, that is a perfect example. Brendan Herrera said, look, you know, his representative in Texas turned out to be a complete effing rhino. I think that's even being generous. He's a lefty statist. And he's like, I'm running against him. And didn't win in the election, but didn't lose either. Because the way the Texas election works, you got to get at least 50% of the vote. And Tony Gonzalez did not. So now they're in a runoff. The two highest vote earners go into a runoff, and that was Tony Garcia and Brendan Herrera. And let me tell you something. The statist rhinos are coming out, including, what's his name, Speaker Johnson, went down to Texas to campaign for Tony Gonzalez, and it's like, well, now we know who does not represent us. I hope Brendan Herrera wins. I really, really do. Guys, Brendan Herrera is one of us. Not only does he believe in freedom and liberty, secure the border, secure your inalienable rights, right? But he's also a geek. My first video that I saw of Brendan Herrera, he was showing off a 22. They made 100 of these 22 pistols in the style of Han Solo's blaster.
What?
And he was dressed up as Han Solo with the vest and everything.
Is that the one where he was killing the cans of White Claw?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no. He didn't do White Claw.
Oh, right,
because it was a Star Wars video. he had a table set up with bottles of green and blue milk. And he goes boom, 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 boom. And he shoots all the blue milk. He says, you may be asking yourself, why didn't I shoot any of the green milk? Well, I only shot the ones that were actually in Star Wars movies. He had my heart at that point. It's like, okay, he does not count the sequel trilogy as actual Star Wars movies. So I'm with him. Brandon Herrera is running against the establishment rhinos. They want business as usual. Let's go, Brandon. Yeah, there's somebody I could say, let's go, Brandon, and honestly mean it. You know? Yeah.
We mean it in the positive sense.
Yeah. And look, even if he doesn't win, if it causes if it causes the incumbent to get the loud, clear message, he needs to start actually representing his constituents. It's still a victory, right? But Nate says, I love France and the French people, but in France, a police officer could flirt with Netter. She can tell him to go F off, and he can haul her into a cell for 48 hours if he feels like it. Yeah. People don't realize you don't have the rights that in other countries that you do here. You don't deserve them. You deserve to know what the law is before you go someplace. That's what an ugly American is.
Oh, yeah.
Going to another country and assuming they'll treat you the way you're treated here in the States.
I think someone on YouTube, they were reposting some TikTok guy over in Thailand, and he was acting all tough, and I think I don't know if he breaks something in some town at night or something, like he knocks over a garbage can or whatever, and he's acting all tough, and then behind him is like an army of the local Thai people walking after him, and it's like,
yeah,
you better watch yourself. The kind of crap you can get with in some American cities, you're not going to get away with in other countries. They will tear you apart. Okay,
absolutely.
You respect local customs and rules. Okay, when you go to another country, I'm sorry,
Jesse. I follow him regularly. If there's a more recent video that I haven't seen, I'm unaware. But
okay, I don't know if you've answered this because it's like you've been talking about a bunch of stuff. But hello, humans, Thade.
Yep.
Said, do you know about the Demon Core?
I just talked about.
Oh,
that,
you did.
yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Because I know you were like all over the place. So
yeah, I know.
I didn't know if you had said that one. Okay, cool. Never mind.
Yeah, like bringing drugs into Russia. Look, that was another Biden F up. I would have left her there. I would have left her there and said, don't do the crime if you can't do the time. Too bad. You know? But we traded her for, this terrorist guy, like a real dangerous person. Wow. It's like, that was not a worthwhile trade. I don't know. Yeah, we have a lot of issues with Western tourists going naked on beach. What? Why would this be a thing? Public nudity is a big no-no down here, and don't bring weed. Why would anyone think you could do that? That makes no sense. Well, to the extent that I have any say in it, tell your government to lock those fuckers up. Throw away the damn key. We don't want them back. She wasn't even a good basketball. Well, you said she. Gyrojet pistol sounds like a good idea until you realize that it's a rocket pistol. Oh! I have seen that one. That was pretty cool. Very, very interesting. What was that? The gun they used in, what was it? Was it the Avengers or something like that?
I don't know.
Let me know if you know, Jesse, what show or what movie it was that they used that in. Why do mainland Chinese pick up dolphins that are beached?
Do I want to know the answer to this?
Is this a joke?
It may
Like
not
because
be.
they're hungry? I don't know.
Actually, I will say this. I once was reading an Icelandic saga, and apparently there was a whale that got beached in one scene, and two Viking clans or whatever, they were warring over the whale carcass on top
I
of the
can
whale,
imagine
like
that.
fighting each
That's
other
a
over the
resource.
whale.
That is a
Yes.
resource, yeah. Absolutely, absolutely.
And this was documented in this one saga.
I have seen, and what's even worse is that. It was used in Resident Evil 8. Okay. What's even worse is now that we have like TikTok and all the other stupid videos that people can share. They're getting videos of just the most ridiculous, stupid things. I mean, and I've seen things I wish I had not seen because people reshare this stuff on the Twitter tweets. There was two kids screwing around with a gun, and the girl shot her cousin in the head in the video. And I'm like, oh,
Don't mess with firearms unless you've had the proper education on them, right? I mean, we're learning that from the whole...
The same reason people take wedding photos and selfies on railroad tracks. They're stupid. Yep. Absolutely. Chinese tourist fell into a volcano in Indonesia while posing for a picture for social media. Just last week, if I'm not mistaken. You know what? I hate to say it. It's Darwin at work. Better that they don't pass on their stupid genes.
There's, of course, the famous picture of those three young women taking a picture of themselves, and you see an oncoming train in the background on the tracks. I don't know if you've seen that picture. Yeah.
Yep.
That's a thing.
It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. Although, I can convince myself that a lot of the stuff that I see is not real.
No, this was real. The two of them got killed as a result.
Oh, jeez.
That's
too
awful,
bad.
but still, yeah.
But you see a lot of these static pictures, and you go, it could be photoshopped. Or whatever.
Could be. I mean, that's what I thought it was at first when I saw it. But
Yep. You never point a gun at anything you are not prepared to destroy, regardless of whether or not you believe it's loaded. Alec Baldwin. You gotta do it right. Take the picture on an abandoned train track. Yeah, well, and know for certain that's the case. Odds are that guy already bred, so the stupid probably will continue. No, because the kids will probably get dead too. It gets worse with each generation. Sounds like the kind of people who think it's a good idea to pet the wild buffalo at Yellowstone Park. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't care how docile an animal seems to be. If they're big enough to kill you by stepping on you, stay the fuck away from them. Look, horses, by and large, are very safe animals. But you have to understand that the way their vision works, very different than the way humans work. So if you're standing in their blind spot and you think they can see you, but they can't, and you take a step forward, you spook them, and they may rear up, they may kick you, they may stomp you, just because they panic. Not their fault, it's yours. Put your hands near their mouth, you can get it bitten off. No. They're only toys to him. You can't have a gun, but he can shoot someone and murder them and get away with it because he's Alec Baldwin.
yeah, when's that trial going to start?
I don't know. But like I said, they've already put away the girl who wasn't even on set, the armorer.
Yeah.
They laid it all on her.
Of course they did.
It's freaking ridiculous. Did you know that more people are killed in Africa by giraffes than lions? People don't realize a giraffe's kick. It's like a shotgun blast to the chest. Yeah, just like horses. They're every bit as strong as a horse. They just have more reach.
I brought you a boost sponge.
The
What
cake is not a lie.
Whoa! What kind of cake is that?
It is a yellow cake with a, I guess I want to call it a chocolate caramel frosting.
That
It's supposed
sounds
to be
tasty.
just milk chocolate frosting, according to our AI. But you make it with condensed milk and like unsweetened or bittersweet chocolate, like a tablespoon of water and a splash of vanilla. And it tastes like caramel. But the cake itself, instead of following the directions on the box for like the oil and stuff, you use the cake mix, of course. You use 4 eggs instead of 3. You use milk instead of water, and a stick of butter instead of oil. And it is so moist and so good.
So, the other thing that I would say, Samuel, there's a reason they tell you not to touch the bridle, not to touch the reins, not to put your fingers underneath the saddle strap or whatever, because that horse, if they buck away from you, they'll tear your fingers right off.
That's terrifying.
They're heavy and strong. You're eating the yellow cake. That's a... Yes. I shared it on X. Check out my X stream. I shared a video called Yellow Cake.
Did you?
It's very... Well, it's not what you think.
Oh.
It's
never mind.
It's a political allegory. You should watch it.
I don't know why that's funny. Saturn Clegane's comment. You got to say it in a Russian accent.
In Soviet Russia, giraffe hunts you. Yes. It's like, I can hear Yakov Smirnoff
saying that. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It has freaking laser beams attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, when we get I don't know if we ever get when we get Retro Blasting on here, I have to talk to him about the book From Russia with Love. Oh, I don't know if he's read the Bond books or not, but
we will be doing a Bond stream probably very soon, because I saw he was already set up with his Lego Aston Martin.
Yeah, they did a Lego Bond car. It's funny because I bought. I don't think I got the fancy version. For a coworker that was leaving, she was a big Bond fan, so I got her the Lego Bond, and I knew she did Lego sets sometimes. So I said, "Let me get her the Lego Aston Martin." I wish, though, what they would have included with it, it was Daniel Craig. I wish you could have swapped out the head for different Bonds, or at least Sean Connery, throwing Sean Connery in there for Sean Connery. But oh well.
Well, you can't do that, because I thought all those minifigures.
You can. They have to pay a license probably for the likeness, so maybe they can only afford. I know when they.
I see what you're saying. You can do it, but the heads aren't available. Okay.
When they released the Doctor Who Lego set, and it wasn't like a whole series. It was just like one TARDIS set, but the companion was the one who was after Amy Pond, the brunette.
The Impossible Girl.
Yes, Amy.
What's her name?
Okay, Okay,
yeah.
She was the companion, and you could either. I think you could swap out the heads of the Doctor. It could be either Peter Capaldi or Matt Smith, because you could do the regeneration.
Yeah.
Clara.
That's it.
Clara
Thanks,
Oswald.
guys.
Clara Oswald. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
She was also played Queen Victoria on the Victoria BBC show.
Yes, she did.
That's right. She did.
Yes.
Did Matt Smith play her consort? That would have been good. That would have been a good
I don't
casting.
know who did. I think it was somebody else playing that. But let's see. They had some good actresses on Doctor Who, actually. But yeah. Okay.
Liz Sladen's my favorite. You were just talking about Pertwee at the top of the show. John Pertwee's the one that introduced us to Sarah Jane.
Funny, because my favorite companion is the one before her, which was Jo Grant. She's my favorite companion. I like Sarah Jane.
I liked her okay. But
Jo Grant was funny. She was different person. In fact, I think she showed up on the Sarah Jane Smith Chronicles as Jo Grant. They had her pop on too on that show, which I thought was interesting. But I know a lot of people love Sarah Jane Smith. She was a great.
She did look a little like Mary Ann from Gilligan's Island. Sure.
Yeah, yeah.
I did like Amelia Pond, though. You know, redhead thing was kind of working for her. I did like, what's her name? Billie Piper.
Yep.
Because, you know, blonde. Mm-hmm. But damn, do something with those eyebrows, girl. Jeez, tweeze or something.
She's been interviewed recently. She's looking good, but she's not blonde anymore.
Ah. Yeah.
I'm trying to think what else is going on. Yeah,
interesting. He played Prince Philip in The Crown. Okay.
Oh, that's right. Oh, that's interesting.
It's like a near miss, isn't it? That's too bad. I'm with you, Mr. Londell. I dig it. I really do. You know, and what gets me about Liz is that her last appearance on Doctor Who, the last time you see her, is she's leaving the TARDIS and she turns around and waves to the Doctor.
Yep.
And that's the last time we see her.
Yep.
That one, it just kills me.
Bittersweet.
Every single time. Every single time.
And then he got the Leela was the next companion after her. Remember that? The
yes.
wild girl. The wild
girl.
The cave woman, let's be honest here. Or the
And I'll be honest with you, I also really liked, what was her name?
Romana?
Yeah, Romana.
Romana was good.
Yeah.
Both of
Played
them
by two different actresses because
she
was a time lady.
Because she was a time lady, yeah. No, he's had a lot of good companions. I know the one that's always hated on is Mel. I think that's because she kind of got shoehorned in during Trial of a Time Lord, and
and look, if you were appearing at all during the Colin Baker era, you were kind of screwed because that was fans were not happy during that era. It really was. Yeah,
I didn't mind it as someone who, as a kid, in fact, they had some. Colin Baker had a much better Dalek episode than Peter Davison had. I did not like the Peter Davison Dalek episode. That was the last episode with Tegan, where she finally had to leave. She saw too much death, and she's like, "I'm done. I can't do this anymore." I guess because that episode was pretty brutal with the Daleks, and she's like, "I'm done."
Given a choice, I'd say Romana too, only because she was with us longer, and
I like them both.
But I did like them both, absolutely. And see, that's the other thing too. They really missed their opportunity. You know, for all their, got to make the Doctor black. We got to make the Doctor a woman. We got to, you missed your opportunity to bring back characters that we loved, like Romana.
They've had plenty of time. They could have brought back the Ronnie. That was another character they could have
the Ronnie. How good would that have been? No, it's like, you know what? Screw you. It's bad enough you got to F with canon because you hate the show. You're clearly not giving the fans what we want. We're done. We walk away.
Move on. Watch the old stuff.
River Song was great, but it would have been better if they'd have brought back Romana. She could have done all the same stuff.
I feel like they were doing this a lot. They were making, because she was almost like a time lady substitute. That's because they did this whole thing where all the Time Lords had to be dead. All the Gallifreyans was dead. Then they finally went to the trouble of bringing Gallifrey back, which I'm like, okay, good. Now we're back to normal, and then don't get me started. Anyway, we'll have to save that for another stream.
Yeah.
I could rant about Doctor Who. But you know what I'm thinking, though? I have been bringing up a point, though. I'm starting to wonder if all of this cultural wreckage is so we don't enjoy the thing anymore, and that we give up on it. So what's the medium?
Well,
we just go back and enjoy the old thing and ignore the new stuff and just pretend like it doesn't
exactly.
exist.
But what it also does is their intent is they want us to leave. They want us to leave
for the mythical new audience that doesn't exist.
No. They know it doesn't exist. They don't give a crap. They really are trying to destroy it. Whatever it is, the movie, the movie franchise, the TV show, the game, whatever it is, they're trying to destroy it. They want you to walk away from it because they think that by doing that, they divide us all. And there's a lot of that happening because there's a lot of diehards that are like, I love it just because it says Star Wars on it, so I'm a true fan and you're not. But the thing is that this is happening in the middle of the information age, where we have this kind of a community.
Yeah.
Where we can have this kind of conversation and commiserate and remind each other and bolster each other that there was a time that we loved, that we could do our own stuff, that new stuff can be made, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and this is and so now I am taking this and I'm turning it against them. They said forget the past, kill it if you have to. I say forget the new stuff. Don't give up on the past.
Yeah.
They can't make you.
Yeah.
You know? I had mentioned earlier in the week that I've got a half planned idea that see, I had wanted to do this more formally and I just can't. But I think that I'm going to get back to watching Smallville again, and I'm going to do it at random times. I'm not going to announce it. I'll just go live and throw in an episode of Smallville, and you guys can watch it with me if you're available.
Hey.
You know?
There were some interesting episodes of Smallville.
Yeah. And I'm going to go through taking notes and say...
We had to wait until season 5 before we started getting regular Superman villains. Think on that, Chad.
Well, but think about this, too.
They couldn't use Lex as a villain yet because he wasn't a villain yet. And so I guess it was Lionel Luthor we were dealing with on the show, right?
The problem is, by the time they got to...
Played by a great actor, by the way.
Season 5, which is basically, you know, with each season being a year in his life, and the first year is his freshman year in high school, right? So we get 4 years of him at Smallville High. That 5th year, he should have been leaving Smallville and going to Metropolis.
Went to local community college.
Maybe you get 4 years of Metropolis University.
Yeah. To be fair, though, and my dad did make a point at the time. He said, like, I think he drops out of school at some point. Maybe it was after Pa Kent dies or something. I realized, you don't, in the old days, and maybe even now, you don't have to have a degree to be a reporter.
Right.
That's something, maybe that's...
Well, I'm starting to notice a lot of people on social media are sharing articles about the crap that's going on college campuses and what stupid politicians are doing. Yeah. And they're saying, stop hiring college graduates. Stop it. Yeah. Just stop it.
It's just... Jesse Guajardo says he never watched Smallville. Well, you're in for a treat.
Yeah. I'm probably going to go back, and I'll start with the first episode over again.
Especially when Eric Durant shows up, I'm just saying. Okay, anyway.
She was a good Lois Lane.
I think she is my favorite Lois Lane out of all the incarnations I've ever seen. And I know Margot Kidder, a lot of accolades, there are other ones, but I really liked her as Lois Lane.
I agree with you.
She was good counterbalance for Clark, the goody-good Clark. She was a good balance for him. Yes.
I think that... what was her name from Lois?
Erica Durant's.
No.
Terry Hatcher. Yeah, no.
Terry Hatcher was good. She was good for the Lois Lane of that time.
Of that show, yes.
And she had chemistry with Dean Cain.
Yeah.
By the way, I just got his comic book. I'm looking forward to reading it.
Yes.
Dean Cain. I think it's called like Real American Hero or something like that. Looks really, really good.
Is it fair to say that Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, were Superman stories taken from the perspective of Lois Lane? Like maybe you could consider her the protagonist on that show? Because she was the one that would always have to do something to help him out, right? Yeah.
I don't think you can do that. I get where you're coming from, but no, because like especially in the first episode,
by the scientist, and she'd have to figure out a way to get him out. That sort
of thing. There's clearly there's whole episodes and large segments of episodes that are told just from Clark's point of view. You know, there was an episode in the first. It's been a long time since I've watched Lois and Clark, even though I got them all on DVD. Better check those DVDs, make sure they haven't rotted. But the pilot episode, that pilot episode, he moves from Smallville to Metropolis, gets himself a small apartment. It's a crap apartment. He's lying in the bed, and the bare bulb light above his bed is flickering. So he's lying in the bed looking at it. He just floats up, taps it, floats back down again. It was really funny. It's like the kind of thing you would, expect,
This was on Lois and Clark, right?
Yeah, this was Lois and Clark.
Because on Smallville, he would have done the dart the back way and dart the other way, and then just sped off and get a new light bulb or something.
See,
that's how they would have done it on Smallville. They would have made it more dramatic than it had to be or something.
This is the thing. Interestingly, you could take most of Smallville, right, and consider it a prequel to Lois and Clark almost. Because really, the story of Lois and Clark, it starts out with him leaving Smallville to come to Metropolis, right? And it's kind of like Superman the movie, right? Where he meets Lois for the first time and gets a job at the Daily Planet and so on and so forth. We went for 10 years before Clark finally did all that crap in Smallville, And the fact that he met Lois seasons before he moved to Metropolis, it's like, no, this is stupid. If you want him to start having a relationship with Lois, have him move to Metropolis and get a job at the Daily Planet. Why would she come to Smallville? That's stupid. Yeah, those are some of the things that I'm going to be addressing as I start doing a rewatch, but it's not going to be a regular thing. I'm thinking like Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon kind of thing. But I don't know when. It's not going to be this week because we got stuff that we have to do tomorrow. Maybe next week. Maybe once a month. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a couple of them in a day. We'll see. The first 4 seasons should have been Smallville, and after that it should have been Metropolis. That's exactly what I've said all along, Nate. There was no reason that they couldn't do that. In fact, the 2 soundtrack albums, the first one was the first Smallville soundtrack was the Talon mix. The Talon being the coffee shop in Smallville, right? The second disc was the Metropolis mix.
Oh.
So you should have gone Smallville for 4 seasons.
Yeah.
Then it should have gone to Metropolis. And I still say, if you wanted to keep him, he's not Superman yet. You're not ready to go there yet. You can have 4 more years by sending him to Metropolis University. You could even have all the kids that went to school with him going to Metropolis U, because where else are they going to go, right?
You know what you know what always bugged me on Smallville though, when they announced, oh yeah, Metropolis, that's in northern Kansas or whatever. No, it's not. Metropolis is not in Kansas. I know, because you need him to be able to commute there like a normal person from Smallville to Metropolis. You need Luth Lex to do. No, Metropolis is a coastal city. That was always my impression of it, at least from the animated series, and maybe from the comics. Is it also a coastal city?
So in the comics, they have done different things.
Yeah.
So there is some readings of certain stories that does seem to imply that it is as close to Smallville as it is shown in Smallville, which could very well be the real world Metropolis in southern Illinois. It is close enough to Kansas that would actually work. But there was also a storyline where Superman ends up in the real world, basically. He ended up in Earth Prime, which is, basically our Earth, and he was commenting on where Metropolis was and where Gotham City was, and it was implied that Metropolis was in Massachusetts and Gotham was across the bay, keeping in mind that it was always imagined figuratively that Metropolis and Gotham had a sister city relationship like New York and New Jersey. So they were going for that cross the bay kind of concept. so they found some area, but they never wanted to say specifically what state they were in. Right. But there was the role-playing game put out a atlas of the DC universe, and it placed, I want to say that it was like Rhode Island and Massachusetts. I don't remember, and which one was which. I want to say Metropolis was in Massachusetts, but again, there are comics that make it that really imply that it is Southern Illinois. And here's another reason why I believe Metropolis is the real world Metropolis, as far as location in Southern Illinois. It's because Supergirl, and we're talking Silver Age here, okay? Supergirl attended Lakeshore University in Chicago. Well, there is no Lakeshore University. She could have gone to UIC or Loyola or something like that. Some fictional university in Chicago called Lakeshore University. When she was growing up, she lived in an orphanage in Midvale. Midvale was halfway between Chicago and Metropolis. So Midvale is in central Illinois, which is actually, you can see that in the Supergirl movie, shows her in Midvale, and it shows her, it shows a map of Illinois. So Midvale is central Illinois, probably near Springfield. She went to university in Chicago, and Metropolis is Southern Illinois. But again, that's all that stuff is subject to change. Let me see if I can share this with you guys. Where's my StreamYard? I misplaced my StreamYard. I must have it open because I'm talking to you guys.
I am talking to you from my StreamYard.
There we are. Present, share screen. I want to share a Chrome tab. Which one is it? Probably this one. Yep. Don't want the sound on or I'll be echoing. See that? That is a comic book from 1986. It was a 4-issue miniseries called Superman: The Secret Years.
Whoa.
This was 4 years at Metropolis University with Clark going to university. Story that had never been told up to that point because they never said what happened to him between the time he was in Metropolis and the time he was in between the time he was in Smallville and the time he was in Metropolis.
Look at that jet. Did he run into a then pilot, Hal Jordan?
I actually don't really remember. That
would have been interesting, right?
Yeah, it would have been good stuff. It wasn't terribly memorable. I also remember that they introduced a number of new characters there that didn't exist prior, which is cool. He had friends in college and whatnot. But did I stop sharing it? I tried to stop sharing it. There we go.
Yes, you did. I don't see it.
Yeah, there we go. But those characters never show up again. And it had so little impact on, any other stories that people kind of take it as, either non-canonical or, take it or leave it. It doesn't really matter.
They could have always introduced a supervillain into that little series and then had him show up in the modern comics like you thought he was gone and now he's back. They could have done it that way,
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Like
I like to think of Metropolis as a coastal city around New York and New England, and Gotham being in the Rust Belt. Yeah, but just about everything says that they're close to each other. Every reference implies that they're sister cities. I mean, heck, even that Batman Forever. Was it Batman Forever? Yeah, yes. Batman Forever, where he says the circus is probably halfway to Metropolis by now. You know, because it would be the next.
That was a neat little nod.
Yeah, it was.
Right?
Yeah.
It's interesting that they're saying all different states. Someone mentioned New Jersey. I often wondered if on Batman the Animated Series it was supposed to be like in a New Jersey type area. But I've heard other people think it's supposed to be Chicago. That's what Gotham is supposed to be like. Yeah.
Well, another reference that I've heard is, and this was, again, the headcanon of the writers, that Metropolis was New York in the daytime and Gotham was New York at night. which can't be literally true in the comics, but that's how they thought of it. Oh, hey, Gorilla Random Thoughts. Swinging in to say hi, but can't stay because I got asked literally last minute to take the kids to a circus, and that starts at 9. That's 90 miles away, so have to be up super early. Well, God bless you, my friend. You know, you gotta get them to halfway to Metropolis, I guess.
So I have a question from last week's stream. Did you have a chance to simmer on any of those upcoming movies that you're excited for, huh?
Yeah, I forgot about most of them, so I must not have been that excited about
Dirty
any of them.
Dancing sequel?
Oh, fuck that. Fuck that. I'm not going to be watching that. No way.
There was something you were sort of interested in. I don't remember what it was now, though.
See?
Okay.
I must not have been that interested in it.
They're making a fourth Despicable Me. You want to see that, right?
Bruce
Despicable
had to fly a plane to get to Metropolis. Well, you look, when you're rich and you've got a private plane,
My impression from the animated series is that Gotham was more either Middle America or East Coast, and Metropolis was West Coast. In fact, I always felt their version of Metropolis was sort of like the old school San Francisco, like the one you saw in the Hitchcock movies.
No, it seems unlikely because there's a lot of other DC cities that are on the West Coast. Star City
I know
and
the
Coast
Titan
City are on the West Coast.
Actually, no, Titans was in New York. The comic was in New York. That's right.
That's right.
But on the animated series, they were trying to base the city off San Francisco, but then I got kind of thrown off because I'm like, I thought that's what the city on Superman.
Well, I want to say Coast. Was it Coast City or Star City? I can't remember which. The map of it in the DC Atlas is literally Chicago flipped. So instead of being on the lake, it's on the ocean. I'm like, and it literally, the boroughs and everything are all named the same. It's like, oh my gosh, that is so weird, which is not surprising because, for example, Hollywood, California, is named for a Hollywood here in the Chicago area. Little, not even a town. It's just a street, and it's part of a town. But that's where whoever it was that founded, Hollywood, California, was from, and he named it after his, home digs.
His home digs.
And of course, it was called Hollywood Land until they decided to take down part of the sign. I don't know. It used to be.
Was there a scene in The Rocketeer where he busted into the land part of the sign or something? Did they do that in that movie? Maybe it wasn't in there.
That
feels like it should have been in there. Like he's fighting or he loses control of the jetpack and he hits in part of the sign and the land falls
exactly.
off.
Or like if they had Superman get punched out of the sky by what's his name, the Solar Man or whatever, and he crashes into the Sphinx in Egypt and knocks his nose off or something.
Yeah, they did that in the Aladdin cartoon movie where he waves at the guy in the Sphinx, and I think the guy in the Sphinx he's not paying attention. He waves back and he hammers in the wrong spot, and the nose falls off. Yeah. I mean, it was just.
And before anyone says it, no, we really don't know how the nose came off the Sphinx. It wasn't.
Napoleon?
It wasn't Napoleon.
I'm sure that's in the Ridley Scott movie. I'm sure that's a big dramatic movie.
There was a bunch of crap like that in Ridley. How do you know? You weren't there. Fuck you.
Oh, Ridley Scott.
Both animated series, they had street names of Batman and Superman writers. Yeah, O'Neill and cool. Adams. And that's actually they did that in the comics for a long time. It's in that reference book that I was talking about from the role-playing game too.
In the video game Silent Hill, streets are named after famous horror writers.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, because I always thought that was the game series that was based on horror novels, whereas Resident Evil was based on horror movies, or B-horror movies,
I did not know that, Thade. Thanks for letting me know. That's interesting. I've never actually seen it that closely. It's on the side of a hill. So even if the letters themselves aren't that tall, they're still way up there. That could still be a good drop. Yeah. Yeah, Hollywood is a very tragic town. All these problems we're hearing about now is not a surprise to anybody who knew anything about it.
You want to watch a horror, like a really tragic Hollywood story? The actor who was the Hollywood Walk of Fame. You know, you have you have those people that you take pictures with them on the street and you give them a tip or something.
Yeah,
in Hollywood. The guy was the Superman stand-in. He looked a lot like Christopher Reeve. Read about his life story. I saw like a mini documentary on YouTube that was depressing.
You know,
really depressing. Oh no,
Jesse, you just reminded me in Superman 3, the whole bit with the Leaning Tower of Pisa. When Superman goes evil because of the artificial kryptonite, he goes around doing all kinds of
kryptonite, which wasn't red kryptonite, but yes,
yeah, exactly.
Okay, that was the story.
He goes around doing all kinds of bad stuff, and one of the things he does is he straightens the Leaning Tower of Pisa, which causes the guy who's selling trinkets with statues of he's like, well, these are no good anymore. Throws them all away.
I wonder
Superman comes back at the end of the movie because he's fixed and healed, puts the Leaning Tower back again, and the guy's like, son of a... And he smashes
now smash the ones where it's straight. Yes. Yeah. That was funny, and I could see that being one of those old Superman comics.
Yeah.
Did you know on Batman the Brave and the Bold, when they finally had the episode where Batman runs into Superman on the show, they did the red kryptonite thing where it's basically Superman, he's King Superman, and it's all those covers from DC Comics where he's evil. They did a little, like, what do you call it, a montage of him doing all those in different scenes. Yeah, you know, like being on a date with another woman who wasn't Lois, you know, and all this other
funny
stuff. And like,
so okay, I'll share with you a little bit of Superman lore. So every iteration of Superman, it seems, adds something to the lore that fans, hold on to. For example, ever since the Christopher Reeve movies, Lois has struggled with smoking and always has freshly squeezed orange juice in the morning. Those have become part and parcel of her character. And they will constantly go back to even just a throwaway line in the comic where Lois says, God, I want a cigarette. Just she won't, but she wants to. Was
that an element on Smallville too? Did she have like a cigarette when we first showed up and she had to stomp it out? And he said that's bad for you. Was that on Smallville?
Yeah. See, that's what I mean. These are the things that keep it going, keep reiterating it. By making a reference back, it strengthens the pseudo canon. Well, you pointed out that. Okay, so the storyline in Superman 3 is that Gus Gorman uses the computer to analyze a meteorite a meteor. It hadn't come to Earth, so it's not a meteorite. A meteor of kryptonite. He uses a satellite to do it. And it figures out all the composition of this thing, and there's one item in it that's unknown. It's an alien, element that is unknown to the computer. And he's like, well, he's not going to smoke it. He says, just call it tar, And then he sends it to the laboratory for them to make this thing up, and it comes out a green crystal. And he gives it to Superman, because he's supposed to be trying to kill Superman, and it doesn't seem to do anything to him. So then because he's exposed to it now, he's starting to, his hair gets all disheveled, his uniform gets all dirty. He starts, having a bad attitude and yelling at people. He gets violent. He becomes, evil Superman, right? Which a lot of the fans, even at the time, were saying, well, that's more like a red kryptonite reaction than whatever this is. Why didn't they just make it red kryptonite? Well, retroactively, they've canonized the idea that when you try to make artificial kryptonite, you get the effects that you saw in Superman 3. It comes up in was it in Smallville where he makes black kryptonite by heating up by heating up regular kryptonite or something, and it splits Clark in two or something like that.
Yes, I'm like you, just a little more bizarre. Remember that?
Yes. So, and that was their introduction of the character of Bizarro. But they also did it in the comics with Supergirl, where she's exposed to black kryptonite, which is created the same way. It's an artificial form of kryptonite, and it splits her into a good and evil. So black kryptonite is an artificial or tampered with green kryptonite, and its effect is to split a Kryptonian into Jekyll and Hyde that needs to be recombined.
You know what, though? I could see this like in old Krypton, how this was a scientist doing an experiment thinking, yes, we could get rid of all of our problem members of society by just taking out their bad halves, right? And it goes horribly wrong. Not that it has anything to do with that, but it sounds like something the Kryptonians would have tried.
Think about that episode, was it The Enemy Within or whatever from the
Star Trek
series? Yeah, where Kirk gets split into a good and evil. And the evil, well, I don't want to say good and evil. They weren't good and evil. They were the base
two sides of his personality,
base instincts, and the higher functions, right? The Jekyll and Hyde, right? The problem is, and the show kind of gets it across, neither one was effective. The so-called evil Kirk couldn't function because he had no willpower. He just give me the drink, give me the woman, give me the food, get out of my face. He couldn't lead a ship of people. The other one was so timid, so beta, he couldn't be an effective leader either. So it's not that one was better than the other, it's that they were both incomplete. So they needed to be recombined. And that's kind of what you're getting with these storylines with the superheroes,
I like Samuel Proctor's comment. Dang, I didn't know that distinction between meteorite. Never have I had the urge to quote Homer at Troy and say, nerd!
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not doing it justice. Exactly. The way he said it in that episode.
Nerd! Yeah,
no,
exactly.
But it was like, it was so cutting. I don't know how many takes Dan Castellina had to do for that, because it was like, it was so mean the way he said it.
Yeah, it was. Okay. You're going to get me into gold kryptonite from Injustice game. Batman had Firestorm fabricated. Okay, so green kryptonite is the original kryptonite. It is an elemental radioactive product from Krypton. It will kill a Kryptonian, and it seems to work by affecting the Kryptonian metabolism. Remember, all the cells in Superman's body work as solar cells. They absorb the sunlight from a yellow star like our sun, and it superpowers him. That's where he gets his superpowers from. Kryptonite, the radiation, gets into each one of his cells and pushes out the yellow solar radiation and takes its place and poisons it. It's like carbon monoxide to hemoglobin, pushing out the oxygen, right? So that's green kryptonite. Gold kryptonite is basically gold from Krypton that is also radioactive. It completely strips permanently the superpowers from a Kryptonian. So it basically changes the genetic makeup so that they can no longer turn solar radiation into superpower. They're normal forever. No going back. Let's see. Blue kryptonite. Blue kryptonite was created by using the Bizarro ray that made an artificial clone of Clark to make Bizarro, right? An imperfect clone. Using it on green kryptonite makes blue kryptonite. Why blue? I don't know, but it's blue. And it only affects Bizarro. It It affects Bizarro the way green kryptonite affects Superman. Interestingly, in an episode of the Super Friends, it restored powers to Clark when he had lost his powers from green kryptonite. But they never did that in the comics. Red kryptonite is green kryptonite that's gone through some sort of a cosmic cloud or something, and it has a random strange effect on Superman. Some of the things it's done made him fat, gave him the head of an ant, changed his colors, split him into Superman red and blue. It's a temporary thing. It doesn't last forever. What were you going to say there, Boomer?
I was going to say that Hello Human Thade wanted you to look at his Paramount comment in the chat.
I had brought them all up.
You see.
Paramount Studios consumed RKO Pictures, and there's still a manhole cover on the Paramount lot that bears the RKO logo. Yeah, that's interesting.
No, I think it was a different one. Hold on. Maybe
Paramount Studios butts up against the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. The people in the page program for Paramount give tours through the Hollywood Forever.
It's interesting.
Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, okay. All right.
They took down the land part. Yeah, okay. So there you go.
You can go on Hollywood death tours out there.
I'm sure. So there's also Kryptonite X. What? Kryptonite X, which is like a green kryptonite with like black highlights in it. It's an artificial form of kryptonite created by Kara when she was trying to find a cure for kryptonite poisoning. It didn't work, but it gives superpowers to creatures from Earth. That's how Streaky the Super Cat got its powers. Trying to remember. I know that there's a jewel kryptonite. Kryptonite made from the Jewel Mountains on Krypton. If you can get a hold of that, the Phantom Zone villains can use it to focus their mental energies to be able to manipulate things in the real world.
Interesting.
I find it weird that DC Comics kryptonite is supposed to be a rare element that hard to find on Earth, but out of nowhere some random bad. Okay, so they've dealt with this too in the comics. In the Gold and Silver Age, it was explained that when Krypton exploded, of course, Clark used a faster than light ship to get to Earth, and it opened up a wormhole between Krypton and Earth. So that's why a lot of kryptonite could funnel down to Earth, so that they can have as much kryptonite as they wanted. But then they realized in the late Silver, early Bronze era that there was just too much with the kryptonite. So they had a story where they called it Kryptonite No More, and Superman set out to get rid of all the kryptonite on Earth. And this was shortly before the Crisis on Infinite Earths that, of course, rebooted Superman for the Bronze Age under John Byrne. And John Byrne went, okay, now Superman's going to be the true last survivor of Krypton. So there was no Supergirl, there was no there was no Super Dog, there was no Super nothing else.
No,
Super Monkey.
I mean, sorry, not Ace. Crypto. Yes.
Yeah, Crypto. And there was only going to be one piece of kryptonite. As his ship was getting away from the exploding Krypton, a piece of Krypton grafted itself onto the back of his ship. It hit and fused, and then he went into hyperspace, and that piece that was on his ship was the only piece. It was found by the scientist that made Metallo, and he used it as the heart for Metallo. And then when Lex Luthor got a hold of Metallo, He said, I want that piece of kryptonite. It's a vulnerability to Superman. We haven't figured out how to get this out of his chest without killing him. He goes, oh, that's easy. He reaches in, pulls it out, kills Metallo. He says, now, I want you to make me a signet ring out of this. And that's how he got his kryptonite signet ring.
I imagine if Metallo came back, he wasn't too pleased with
He
Lex
was not.
Luthor.
He was not.
He didn't like him on the animated series either.
No.
We're past the midnight mark. Did you want to move over to Rumble, or?
Yeah, and do you need to drop off too?
Yeah, I can hang around for a few more minutes after you.
Okay. All right, guys.
Right.
So I am going to be moving. If you guys want to stick with me, I'm enjoying myself. I hope you guys are too. I want to close it up here on YouTube. We are still active over on
Twitter.
Rumble. Well, yeah, we are active on Twitter, but I haven't been doing anything with it. So here's the link to Rumble. I'm going to be shutting it down here. If you want to continue with me, and I hope you do because I'm having a lot of fun, go ahead and click on that, and I will see you over there in a few minutes. Thanks, everybody that doesn't want to stick around. I understand. I totally do. Hi, sweetie. I see you there. Netter's already over there. And I'm going to close out YouTube right now.